Beneath a heavy sky, the small, unremarkable town of Hirasaka lay shrouded in mist, perched on the edge of an ever-silent forest. Not many passed through these parts, and fewer stayed. Something about the air felt dense, oppressive, like it held secrets too ancient for human tongues. And then there was that ever-present hum, barely perceptible, but always there, like a distant murmur just outside one's ear. The townsfolk claimed it was the wind, but anyone who stayed long enough began to wonder. Kiko, a young woman with a curious mind and a love for strange histories, had been drawn to Hirasaka for a job, an archivist's position in the town's old library. It was the only building in the town that had withstood time. The others bore the marks of abandonment or decay. But it was not just the job that brought her here. Kiko had always felt a pull toward the strange and unexplained, and Hirasaka's reputation as a cursed town intrigued her. The curse, however, wasn't one of violent death or vengeful spirits. It was more insidious. People simply disappeared. Some left town, their belongings gone, without a word to anyone. Others were never seen again, their homes left untouched, eerily undisturbed. The police often chalked it up to wanderers moving on, but whispers among the elderly said otherwise. The library was massive. Its shelves endless rows of dusty tomes, ancient volumes bound in leather that cracked under the slightest pressure. Kiko's task was to restore and digitize the collection, but she found herself often drawn to the sections most untouched, where books sat in shadow, as if forgotten by time. One afternoon, while combing through a forgotten corner, Kiko discovered a curious journal, bound in a dark mottled hide. Its pages were brittle, the ink faded but legible. What struck her most was the way it began. They say the ground here hums, and that in the earth beneath our feet, something stirs. The entries that followed detailed the life of a man named Hiroshi Tasamura, who had once lived in the town nearly a century ago. He spoke of the strange occurrences that seemed to coincide with the low, omnipresent hum, the one that Kiko had heard herself since her arrival. But what unnerved her was the shift in the journal's tone. As Hiroshi's writing grew more erratic, he spoke of hearing voices in the hum, faint whispers, beckoning him deeper into the forest. Kiko found herself haunted by Hiroshi's words. That night, she lay in her small rented room, the journal on the bedside table. The hum seemed louder than usual, a dull vibration she could feel in her bones. And then, for the first time since she arrived, she thought she could hear it. A voice, soft, distant, but unmistakable. Kiko. The next morning, Kiko couldn't shake the feeling that the voice had been real. Sleep had been elusive, her dreams tangled with images of dark woods and deep, yawning chasms. When she arrived at the library, she dove back into the journal, hoping to find some explanation. Hiroshi's final entries were frantic, full of fear. He had gone into the forest, following the sound of the whispers, and he had discovered an old shrine hidden deep within a ravine. There, he claimed the earth was alive, moving beneath the stone foundations of the shrine like the breathing of some slumbering giant. His last words sent a chill down her spine. "It's calling me. I can feel it now. The ground. The hum. It's not just a sound. It's a pulse. A heartbeat." Kiko's mind whirled with questions. What had Hiroshi found? Was the hum truly something more than just a natural phenomenon? That night as she lay in bed, the voice came again. This time it was clearer, stronger. "Come." Compelled by a force she couldn't explain, Kiko set out the next morning. She ventured into the forest, guided by the ever-present hum. The deeper she went, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The trees grew twisted, their bark dark and slick as if they had been soaked in something foul. The air smelled of damp earth and rot, and yet the hum remained steady, a constant thrum that vibrated through her whole body. It was as if the sound was leading her, guiding her steps towards something hidden, something waiting. Hours passed before she found it, the shrine. Just as Hiroshi had described, it was crumbling, overtaken by the forest. Moss clung to the stone, and the air here felt thick, heavy, like it was pressing down on her chest. She approached cautiously, the hum now a deafening roar in her ears. Beneath the shrine's broken altar, there was a crevice, a jagged opening that led deep into the earth. Kiko knelt down, peering into the darkness below. A foul stench wafted up from the depths, and the heartbeat grew louder. Without thinking, she reached out, her hand brushing against the stone. The moment her fingers made contact, she felt it. A pulse. Something alive, stirring beneath the ground. Her vision blurred, and she was overwhelmed with a sudden terrifying realization. The hum wasn't coming from the earth. It was coming from beneath it. Kiko tried to pull back, but it was too late. The ground shifted beneath her, the stone crumbling as the shrine itself seemed to tremble. A low, guttural sound echoed from the crevice, something deep and ancient, like the groaning of the earth itself. She stumbled back, heart pounding as the ground before her split open. From the darkness, something emerged. A massive, twisted form, unlike anything she had ever seen. It was as though the earth itself had come alive, its body made of stone and root, its surface crawling with the grotesque semblance of human faces, all whispering in unison. "Join us. Join us. Join us." Kiko's scream caught in her throat as the creature extended itself toward her, its many faces shifting and merging, their mouths stretching open in silent agony. She turned to run, but the ground gave way beneath her, the roots snaking up to entangle her legs, pulling her down toward the gaping maw of the creature. She woke up in her bed, drenched in sweat, her heart racing. The sunlight streaming through the window felt unreal, like a distant memory. For a moment, Kiko thought it had all been a dream, a nightmare, brought on by her obsession with Hiroshi's journal. But when she looked down, her hands were caked in dirt, and her legs bore deep scratches from the roots. The hum was louder now, filling the room, vibrating through her bones. Panicked, she rushed to the library, determined to find answers. But when she opened the doors, she froze. The library was empty, not just devoid of people, empty. The shelves were bare, the books gone. The windows were shattered, vines creeping through the broken glass as if the forest had begun to reclaim the building. And then she saw it. The journal, lying open on the floor. Its pages had changed. There was a new entry, written in a familiar hand. "The hum is in me now. I can hear it. Always. I can feel it. I'm a part of it. Soon, I will return to the earth, and I will join them in the deep." The handwriting was hers. Kiko fled, her mind unraveling. The town was empty, abandoned. The houses stood silent, their doors open, but no one was inside. It was as though everyone had vanished, leaving behind only the shell of a place once filled with life. The hum was deafening now, pounding in her ears, her chest, her very soul. As she ran through the deserted streets, she saw them. Faces in the earth, emerging from the ground, their mouths moving in time with the hum. They were calling her. She could feel the pull, the urge to stop, to lie down, to let the earth take her. With a final burst of energy, she reached the edge of the town, collapsing just as the sun began to set. The hum faded, and for a moment, there was silence. But as she lay there, staring up at the darkening sky, she felt it again. The pulse, the heartbeat. It was beneath her. The search party never found her. Just like the others, Kiko had disappeared, leaving no trace behind. The town of Hirasaka continued on, its inhabitants growing older, fewer as the hum remained. A constant murmur beneath the earth. And somewhere, deep in the forest, the shrine waits, the earth beneath it pulsing with life. And Kiko, like so many before her, has become part of the hum.